So the Center for Family Involvement is one of many projects that we have under the Partnership for People with Disabilities. We are located under the School of Education here at Virginia Commonwealth University. So I'm going to start with a quick overview of the partnership and highlight a few of the projects, and then I'll really dive into the Center for Family Involvement and the type of support that we provide to families. The Partnership for People with Disabilities has been around since 1985. And what is really at the foundation of the support that we provide is training and technical assistance to individuals and families and professionals on best practice when supporting people with developmental disabilities. And the partnership is one of 67 university centers for excellence in developmental disabilities, or we call that a USED. A USED is part of the Federal Congressional Developmental Disabilities Act, and part of that act establishes a stream of money that comes to every state. And the purpose of a USED is to assist and develop or demonstrate best practice models that are based on research on how to support people with disabilities and their family. And so we are the USED for the state of Virginia. The partnership currently employs over 100 staff. Approximately half of our employees are parents or individuals with disabilities, and we think this really gives us a unique perspective on best practice as it relates to disabilities. Not only are we professionals, but we are also parents, and so we have that unique perspective on the joys and challenges of supporting and raising children with disabilities. Our organization currently operates approximately 35 key initiatives or projects, and we categorize those initiatives into 4 program areas, which you see listed here. So let me go into each one of those with a little more detail. Community living is all about providing opportunities for people with developmental disabilities, family members, and professionals to work together to enhance collaboration and to learn from each other and to ultimately improve outcomes for people with disabilities. Early childhood and early intervention. That program area specifically works towards supporting the development of infants and toddlers with developmental disabilities to make a difference in the lives of those young children and their families. The third program area is education. We feel that supporting education of children and youth with disabilities is vital so that they can receive services and resources to excel in their homes, excel at school, and ultimately to excel in the community. And our fourth program area is specific to health. We believe that achieving and maintaining good health can enable people with disabilities to participate in education, in work, recreation, and pretty much all aspects of life, just like you and I. So if any of you have any questions about the programs that we operate at the partnership, I have added our website and phone number here to the slide, so feel free to take out your phone and take a picture of it. Now I'd like to switch gears to talk more specifically about my project, the Center for Family Involvement, and the support that we provide to families. In the late 1980s, the partnership wrote a grant for parent-to-parent support here in the Richmond, Virginia area. And ever since then, the partnership has had a firm commitment to serving families. Over the years, we've continued to write grants to conduct systems change work around best practice when supporting families. And in 2005, the Center for Family Involvement was birthed, and we were awarded a grant. We formed the Center for Family Involvement, which has continued to allow us to provide that family-to-family support. Our mission is fairly simple. The Center for Family Involvement works with families to increase their skills as advocates and mentors and leaders so that families and children and young adults with disabilities can lead the lives that they want. And our vision is also really simple. We believe that every family of a person with a disability, together with the professionals who work with them, embraces the family's role in improving the lives of people with disabilities. And in such, families become advocates who speak with and for their family members with disabilities. They become mentors who use what they've learned to help others. And they become leaders who make possible a better life for those who follow. So as you can see in this diagram, our vision and our missions merge together in the middle to help us develop our goals. And so what are our ultimate goals under the Center for Family Involvement? Well, one of our primary goals is family engagement, which is what we want to see ultimately from every family that we provide support to. It means enhancing connections within families, between families and their communities, and the systems that serve them in an effort to increase those positive outcomes that we want to all see, all of us want to see for children with disabilities and special health care needs. And so when a parent becomes engaged and involved in their child's life, it ensures that they have great outcomes in academics and social skills and emotional well-being. And so we know through the research that we do at VCU, and among our sister organizations around the nation that provide parental support, we know that families who are engaged have children who perform better in all areas. When the child performs better, the parents have higher expectations. And when a parent has high expectations for their child, the child's performance continues to increase. And it's this beautiful cycle that we see. And at the premise of it is family engagement. So I want to share a quote with you, and some of you might be able to relate to this. As parents, we can be looked at as the ones with the most needs. Sometimes we can be the star of the show, and other times we can be the showstopper. So some of us might look back at previous experiences, especially those of us that have older children. We might look back at those early years when we were advocating for our children, and perhaps you sometimes wonder if you had maybe made a different choice. Would there be a better outcome for your child? Or perhaps you've thought about, when you've learned from former mistakes. And as parents, we all question ourselves at one time or another. That's perfectly normal. That's what we all do. Sometimes our emotions get the best of us. IEP meetings can be incredibly intimidating and overwhelming, and all of us at the Center for Family Involvement have been through those exact same experiences. And so as a family navigator or a CFI staff, we're here to assist parents identify what their options are and make decisions that are going to be best for their family. So now let's talk a little bit more about family engagement and really dive into what we mean by that and identifying the different levels of family engagement. As parents of children with special needs and disabilities, we often find ourselves at different stages or levels of involvement and engagement. And so that first level that we're talking about for all of us is at the bottom of the triangle, and you'll see that there. That is the personal level. And at this stage, we are seeking and finding information and support on how to best advocate for our children. And so during the journey of parenting a child with special needs, sometimes we find ourselves really struggling just to get through the day. And many of the families that we support are at this personal level, this first stage. The next level of family engagement is supporting others. Which you see in the middle there of the triangle. And at this point in our parenting journey, we feel the need to give back to others and to pay it forward. So at this point, a lot of times we are reflecting on what we've learned about supporting and advocating for our children. We think about the parts of our advocacy that have been more challenging. Perhaps we think about how things might have been easier if we had the right information. Or if somebody else understood our frustrations or our fears or our concerns. Some of you may be able to really relate to this supporting others level. Perhaps you're there in your own journey. Perhaps you even think sometimes, you can think of some times recently when other parents have come to you for guidance and support. So you may really be able to relate to the second level there in the middle of the triangle. And the top level of the triangle, which is a smaller group of parents that choose to make it to this level of the pyramid, that is the systems change level. And at this level of support, parents are getting involved in their communities and becoming part of organizations that contribute to advocacy on a larger scale. So parents at this level are involved in organizations such as the ARC. Perhaps they sit on a local special education advisory council, or maybe they're a board member to a local disability organization. If you're relating to this particular level of family engagement, perhaps this is something that you're, wanting to get to at one point. However you choose to get involved, your efforts will no doubt benefit other parents who are just getting started on their journey. So this is a good picture of the different levels of family engagement. And so the way that we address the three levels of family engagement is we divide our work into really two different types of support. We have what we call direct support to families and what we refer to as indirect support to families. The direct support is the Family to Family Network of Virginia, and as you can see from this map here, we have divided our team into 6 different regions. Those regions are Northern Virginia, Blue Ridge, Southwest Virginia, Central Virginia, Tidewater Northern Neck, and the Hampton Roads area. The CFI has about 22 staff, and we're spread out throughout the state, and each one of these regions that you see on this map has what we refer to as a regional network coordinator, which is one of our staff that is responsible for coordinating the family-to-family work that's in that particular region of the state. And because we're spread out the way we are across the state, our staff in those regions live in that region. They access services in that region. They know parents and providers and professionals in that region. So they know the region best. So when calls come into our helpline and families are looking to be matched with a staff person or a volunteer that could help them with maybe some systems navigation or emotional support, we can reach all corners of Virginia. So we feel that having the region split up the way we have really helped us to spread our wings a little bit and support more families. Perhaps you're curious about the numbers of families and professionals that we have reached at CFI. So on the graphic that you see here on this slide, this is data that reflects from June of 2019 until May of 2020. And you can get a picture of the number of families that we've provided one-to-one support for, professionals that have reached out to us to partner with trainings or supporting families directly. We have a number of products that we disseminate that are based on the research that we've done for family-to-family and parent-to-parent support, and we will send those products to professionals and families that may find some use in them. So this just gives you an idea of the type of support that we have provided under the Center for Family Involvement. And as you can see in this graphic, CFI implements a variety of programs. The big umbrella refers to our mother program, which is Center for Family Involvement, and then you'll see in the white squares all of the different programs that fall under the Center for Family Involvement. So I just want to highlight a few in particular that I think would probably be of most interest to you as parents of children with disabilities. We facilitate a team known as the Family Engagement Network, which is comprised of about 50 professionals from organizations such as the Department of Education, Parent Education and Advocacy Training Center, local parent resource centers, TTACs, military liaisons, health departments, and a number of other family organizations. And the sole purpose of the Family Engagement Network is to come together and help increase special education student outcomes through family engagement. So that is one of our projects. CFI also facilitates an annual parent summit that is connected to the I'm Determined Youth Summit. And some of you should be familiar with that. I believe Marianne Moore talked about that earlier today. So the Parent Summit portion of the I'm Determined project is really focused on opportunities for parents to network with other parents, to learn what's happening in the world of long-term care services, post-secondary education, supported decision-making, alternatives to guardianship, benefits, employment, you name it, anything that involves transition. we like to address at the Parent Summit. So that is one of our projects that we direct also. The Cultural Broker Initiative and the Building Bridges Initiative is one of our projects that consists of several staff who are specific to immigrant, refugee, and/or racially and ethnically diverse populations. The primary role of our Cultural Broker Initiative is really outreach to organizations and groups throughout Virginia with whom the CFI partners with to meet the needs of families of children with disabilities who just so happen to also have needs specific to their culture and linguistically diverse families. And so the Building Bridges Institute is a conference that we hold once a year for professionals with a focus on evidence-informed practices to how we can support those families from different cultural backgrounds and diversity. And our Rural Health and Education Initiative is as simple as its name. We focus on providing targeted outreach and collaborating with parts of Virginia where there is a really large rural community. And we understand that in rural communities, sometimes things like healthcare and education can be a challenge for families just based on lack of resources. And so this initiative really helps us to identify what are those barriers to services in those rural communities throughout Virginia that are supporting children with disabilities, and how can we help and connect. And last but not least is our Family to Family program, which is that parent to parent support. And I want to show you a brief video that is comprised of our team members talking about the family to family support that we do and what it means to them.
We help families who have adult children with disabilities in their homes. The family member who's the caregiver is growing older and they're worried about the future of what's going to happen to their adult child.
My name is Patrice Beard. I am the liaison to the mental health community.
I'm also the liaison to the blind and visually impaired community.
I'm here to help refugees, immigrants, and Arabic speakers.
I realize multicultural specialist.
I work across the state of Virginia as a cultural broker for the African American community.
When a parent finds out that their child has failed the newborn hearing screening and they would like to talk to another parent, then they get in touch with me, and I pretty much serve the whole state of Virginia.
To talk to another person who has walked my walk, who knows what I'm going through, who knows what it's like to have a child with a mental health condition and that struggle, that day-to-day struggle.
Living in Southwest Virginia in a rural community, I found that I was not given all the information that would help me. I was not aware that I was supposed to put my children on a waiver waiting list. There were certain other things that I was not aware that they should be receiving as far as services in the school system. So it became important to me to help other parents so that they were aware of their rights.
Trust can be a huge barrier in terms of, families getting really frustrated and upset because of the fact that there may have been information or resources that they had no idea about.
Are you going to communicate with using sign language or no sign language? And if you're going to use any type of device, such as the hearing aid or the cochlear implant, there's so many things that you have to think about, and that makes it really difficult.
I understand what they're feeling and their needs, and so I feel like I can help them.
I'm very job in telling people that they can do anything that they want.
I love working with families and empowering them so that they have the tools to be the best advocates that they can be for their children.
I feel really good about empowering families, and a lot of times once they have the information that they might not have known was there, they're great advocates for their kids.
When they call me back and tell me that it worked and that they were able to get the services or placement that they needed.
When that conversation ends and that mother or father or caregiver is at a different level, a better level than when we first began, and I feel like they have some hope, that's my favorite part of the job.
I'm able to help other families when they're at the lowest, and then once they're in a good place, a lot of them want to give back as well, so I'm able to help them help others.